your body that helps in the transmission of the different what you call that action potential. Without them, there will be no transmission or behavior or emotions that would be manifested. No, even if there are structural parts of your body. These are very important. You have your acetylcholine. No? So you can observe that the role of your acetylcholine, you have their cognition. So it helps your memory. What part of your brain function for the memory?
Hippocampus, Doc.
Very good, diba? We associated that hippocampus and memory. So that is together with your neurotransmitters, it becomes complete. With the neurotransmitters and your hippocampus, then your memory will become good or clear. So that's the function, the cognition, sleep-wake cycle, and the parasympathetic nervous system. What are your parasympathetic nervous system?
It activates po when you're in a relaxed or normal mode.
Very good, very good. So when you're in a normal, you're just sitting down, no? That is the parasympathetic nervous system that functions. So it goes with, as I've said, with your acetylcholine. So that's the function of your acetylcholine. No? So it regulates your heart rate, digestion, production, bladder function, smooth muscle contraction. So it is your acetylcholine. No? Very important neurotransmitter. No? You have your norepinephrine. So it can be found in your 3 areas of your brain. You know, your pons, your reticular formation. What is the function of your reticular formation?
Alertness po, Doc. Alertness.
Very good, very good, very good. So, pag-exam, alam nyo na. Di ba? You can already associate, no? As I've said, you try to associate the words and the different function of your brain. So it goes with your alertness, with the function of your neurotransmitters, neuroepinephrine. No? The main role is attention, alertness, arousal, sleep-wake. Parang opposite. Alert, sleep, wake cycle, regulating mood and anxiety. So you can remember immediately, no? Norepinephrine, alertness, there is an R. So, but however, opposite to that is sleep, wake cycle. Then regulating of your mood and anxiety. No? Because if you cannot sleep, you sometimes get sad or get mad easily, no? You're anxious, so try to interrelate this one. So it will be very easy for you to memorize, no? And can be digested. Then you have your dopamine. So almost 1 million nerve cells in the brain contain dopamine. Diba? Nagtarang ako kanina kung anong role ng dopamine. So you can see it is very complex movement. It functions for complex movement. Cognition also, motor. So it maintains for your body movement. No? Only it has also a function of your emotion. No? Aside from body movement, your motor control, but it has also a function of your emotion. So most of your antipsychotic drugs is related to the function of the dopaminergic system or pathways, dopamine. So if your dopamine is very, very, very active, sometimes, so that is the people who are psychotic. So the treatment is geared toward your dopamine, to decrease dopamine neurotransmitter. Because if it becomes very active, that person will become or has psychosis. That is the function wherein the person becomes psychotic if the dopamine is very active. So the drug is directed towards your dopamine or dopaminergic system. So that it has a relationship with your psychosis. When we say psychosis, it doesn't mean that grossly psychotic, that you'll be walking around, that you'll be running around, that you will be talking and talking. When we say psychotic, sometimes it's just, you have just some mere hallucinations, auditory. Maybe you cannot yet, appreciate this one, hallucinations, but when you try to go to your clinics, when you become your clerks, are interested to become clerks? Why? Yeah, very good, very good. So when you go to psychiatric department, now it seems that you cannot appreciate when we say psychosis, because you cannot experience, or you haven't seen a person who is psychotic. But most of you, you can relate that those person roaming around the downtown area or anywhere that they cannot control themselves. Meaning to say they have so much dopamine, and that person is psychotic. But as I've said, it doesn't mean that when you are psychotic, I am trying to say grossly. No. As I've said, sometimes it only comes in the form of a little bit paranoia. No? You try to become suspicious. You have some unwanted thoughts. No? So that is your dopamine. No? Then you have your serotonin. So it is said that it has a great influence on your behavior. This serotonin is usually functions usually in depression. Serotonin. No? So this usually function on depression. Although you can see that it is said that only 2% is in the central nervous system, in your brain. No? Roles, you have your vasoconstriction, contrastal regulation, low serotonin associated with aggression, suicide. That's why I told you that it functions in depression, impulsive eating, anxiety, and low mood. Impulsive eating, sometimes it is associated with depression. Diba, sometimes you said, ay, mataba siya, walang problema. Diba? You do not know that that person is having an impulsive eating or is having an anorexia nervosa or bulimia nervosa. So impulsive eating, being fat, no? It doesn't mean that you are always happy. No? So when you're fat, sometimes it correlates with depression. You keep on eating and eating and eating. No? So I have a patient, no, he keeps on eating. Ang taba-taba, maski ano lang, no? But he was depressed. No? So pag if you are having an anorexia nervosa, if you are having an anorexia nervosa, there's also some sort of depression in that. That's why it said that it is correlated to impulsive eating. So hindi nyo na masasabi that ang mataba ay walang problema. Di ba? Nasabi tayo, pag mataba, walang problema. But it is not. So serotonin also is a part on the patient who have suicidal aspect. So it also has a part of your sleep. Why? Because when a person is, is depressed, no, or having problem, diba, you cannot sleep. It seems that sometimes person will just lie down, nagkukunwari na natutulog. But actually, they had a sleep problem. That is a depression. That is the role of the serotonin. So pag walang kulang yung serotonin, yun, nagkakaroon tayo, you will become depressed. No? So sabi, some person would say, ay doc, hindi man lang ako nakakatulog. No? So if you will not go history, so your history is very, very important. Kasi hindi lang magsabi na, ay hindi nakakatulog. You will immediately give yung hypnotic drug, yung pampatulog. No. You have to get the history why the patient cannot sleep. No? And it seems later that you will know that the patient has problems, has anxiety, if they cannot pass their examinations. No? So, padamihin nyo yung serotonin nyo para makakapasa kayo palagi ng examen nyo. No? Para hindi kayo madadown. No? Then it also plays on delusions, hallucinations, and some of the negative symptoms of schizophrenia. So serotonin is very important. So it goes with, so the patient who is psychotic, usually there is a combination of dopamine, serotonin antagonist. No? Because serotonin and dopamine goes hand in hand. You can see that serotonin has a function in delusions, hallucination. Likewise, dopamine has a function of those hallucinations, also delusion. So there's a medicine that the so-called dopamine serotonin antagonist. So you do not be contented when you try to meet a person or somebody or even your friend and they can just say, wow, I cannot sleep. So you give immediately, ay, bigyan kita ng pampatulog. No, you cannot say that because as I've said again and again, they are depressed. You try to get a history. It's not that hindi lang nakakatulog. Wala naman reason. No, wala. I can handle my problems. No. But if you try to psychotherapy, to ask the person, you will see that the person has a problem of sleep. And sleep is a window of psychiatric or psychological problem. No? Hindi nyo lang alam kasi pag nasabi, ay, hindi lang ako nakakatulog. But you do not know that it is interrelated to your psychosis or having another psychiatric problem. So do not just be contented when somebody will tell you na, ay, hindi nakakatulog. No. See, you can see that delusions, hallucinations, so it is interrelated. So pag sinabing hindi kakatulog, take a history immediately. No? Yan, you have your amino acids, neurotransmitters. Amino acids are also your neurotransmitters. So you can see that one is glutamate. It is found in all cells, controls opening of your ion channels, your sodium-potassium pump, your glutamate. Blocking glutamate produces psychotic symptom. So it is a part, so glutamate must be there also. So overexposure to glutamate, however, would cause cell death. So you can see that glutamate is very important, no? Because the sodium potassium pump, there will be no food, no, for your nerves if you don't have those amino acids. No? Amino acids are your proteins, diba? Then you have your GABA, gamma-aminobutyric acid. No? So it is only found in your central nervous system. It is an inhibitory neurotransmitter, controls excitatory neurotransmitters implicated in anxiety disorders. No? So when you have anxiety, the medicines that is given to you is the medicine that would inhibit GABA, the gamma-aminobutyric acid. So meaning to say, the neurotransmitter that is responsible for your GABA, for your anxiety, do not forget, GABA, anxiety. The neurotransmitter or the amino acids that functions on your anxiety. When you are nag-anxiety ka kasi you will study your lesson, you might not be able to pass, you have so many things to study, so you do not know where to start. So what happened? Parang hindi ka mapakali, di ba? So what is the function? What neurotransmitter? You have your GABA. That is the one that controls your excitatory neurotransmitter. Ibig sabihin, di ba, pag anxiety ka, parang active na active pa, hindi mo alam kung anong gagawin, saan ka pupunta, anxious, natatakot ka pag-plane, pagsakay ng plane. So, you have an anxiety. So, what are the manifestations of your anxiety, by the way? You have palpitation, you have going to the toilet every now and then, kung nag-exam na, di ba, function na ng anxiety. Butterfly stomach, no? Kung minsan nag-LBM ka na, no? So, ang nagpa-function dyan is GABA. Meaning to say, you have an anxiety. No? Kung minsan, hindi ka rin nakakahinga, no? Na sometimes you get immediately associated with, baka ito, nahimatay na ito, ano na ito. So when you have a person like that, sometimes they are just anxious, no? They're gonna steer ya. Their anxiety is very, very high. So what is the best important for you and the patient is parang natumba lang, wala namang, you get the vital signs immediately. So if you will get the vital signs, and the vital signs is normal, BP is normal, RR is normal, heart rate is normal, it is just because of anxiety. Diba? There are many times that you encounter this person na kung may problema, kung may namamatay sa family, biglang silang natutumba. That is because they become hysteric, they have too much anxiety. That is because of your GABA. No? So do not forget that. Vital signs, para alam nyo na hindi talaga problem on medical problem. No?